the record button.
All right. Oh. And I don't know if you want to share your screen or anything, Karen, so let me make you a co-host.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that'll work. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Oh, it is my honor, and I am just so grateful for all of you. Each one of you here is such an integral part of our global takeover team, and Ellie and Carol are just such amazing servant leaders, and I just am so grateful that they are holding you guys together, and this fast track and this accountability group. I mean, this is a power accountability group, and I want you guys to understand that you have the power. Like when I'm going to be talking about closing techniques today, and I think so often, if you haven't had like a lot of success, like every single time that you talk to people, and then you're bringing in 1 out of 3, and you've got a lot of things going on, but you're not getting the results. I think sometimes people tend to second guess themselves and feel bad and feel like they don't have the skill set and feel like they can't figure this thing out. And I just want to just maybe start with the most important aspect of all of this is for you guys to focus on your personal development and understand that you have what it takes, and it's just a matter of time. Some people get these skill sets kind of built, it takes a little bit longer than others, but the bottom line is the only people that don't succeed in Melaleuca are the people that quit, and amen. And I cannot say that with any other company that's on this planet, but in Melaleuca, I can honestly say that. And just watching, the journey we've gone through is, let's see, what are we at, like 2.5 years now, 2.5 years in? And just knowing and seeing the numbers, because I see the bigger numbers, and the sustainability is just outstanding, just incredible. So let's dive in. And I wanted to just kind of reiterate my thing, my game here is that I focus on trying to get people on the phone. And I've said that many times before. And I know for me, my success rate happens once I get them on the phone and I build rapport. When you're dealing with cold market people, unless you've got a really strong relationship with them from, marketers from your past experiences, and you probably have already gone after all those people and brought some of them in, cold market is a whole different animal. And what the messaging part of it is the beginning relationship building. But if you don't get them on the phone, if all you're doing is messaging and then getting them to come to an overview, provided they actually show up for the overview, unless you already have a relationship with them, that isn't going to create an effective strategy for you to actually close. So what I do is I focus on getting them on the phone, and I will ask them some of these, what I call form questions. So, and I think I've talked to you guys about this before, but the way that I start out, and when I get them on the phone, I'm like basically saying, once they say they're open, like you have to go through the whole thing and ask if they're open to taking a peek at something, if it didn't interfere with what they're already doing, you have to ask them, if they're willing to take a peek at it. But once they're willing, then, I say something like, so actually one of the easiest ways for me to, just really share more details is for us to just get on a quick, either a Facebook chat call or on a phone call, spend about 5 minutes and just I just want to get to know you a little bit better, find out about your background, seeing where you're at. And then of course I'll share mine and we'll go from there. How does that sound? And honestly, I give them that option, and I will say like 95% of the people will say yes and give me their phone number. I mean, because what harm is it going to hurt? You know, if they don't like me, they can block me. You know, and so and so I don't have a lot of problem because I give them an option. I tell them, you know, we can either get on a Facebook chat call or on a phone call, which works best for you. And then most people, you know, and then I'll just kind of inch toward, honestly, my personal feeling, you know, my personal preference would be a phone call. It's because sometimes my internet doesn't, you know, the internet doesn't always work, you know, work as well. So I'll also use that as an excuse to try to get them on the phone. So let me just see if I can, I'm losing my voice. This is not good. Probably from all that dancing and yelling and screaming yesterday.
So bad.
Oh my God. My brother's friends who are now become my BFFs, they're in this like really crazy cool band that's one of the best in the state of Wisconsin. And so I go to these things and I try to leave and they just won't let me leave.
Oh, they won't let you. They charge you up, right?
They won't let me leave. I'm like, really? Why? Can I just please go? Let's see if, let me just see if I can get this. Okay, so I'm just gonna, let me see where I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm showing you a script, even though I don't use a script. I think it helps to have like a little bit of an outline, but the more natural that you make this, the better. So, so basically, I'm not going to go through what the beginning is. That's kind of dumb. Okay. All right. So my whole thing is, you know, once I get them on the phone, I'm like, so today I just want to get to know each other a little bit better. And I don't do about the company and the products. No, this is what I do here. The reason why I wanted to spend a couple minutes with you today is because I wanted to learn more about you, you know, your background, what you're looking for, and of course, share my background and just see if this might be a fit for you and then help you to achieve those goals. You know, just something along those lines. The less I say about, you know, anything other than that, you know, I'm not going to go into everything in detail. I'm telling you this, but I'm not going to tell them anything. All I'm doing is building rapport. So I'm not going to talk about myself first. So first of all, I just want to know a little bit about you and your background. And I use the form, you know, F stands for family, occupation, you know, what do they do? What do they do for fun? And your whole purpose in doing this why is so that you can, determine, doing the form is so you can find out what their why is. Because then you'll use their why to try to get them to, when it comes to the closing part. So I just wanted to find a little bit more about you, what you're doing now, what you're looking for, and just see if, you know, what we have here might be a fit for you. And of course, I'm going to be sharing my background and, you know, what I do, and just my experience as well. And we'll just go from there. How does that sound? So I make it we'll just go from there. And how does that sound? And they're like, okay, you know. So the first thing I'll do is, and I don't even use the script, just so you know. First thing I do is I go into, so tell me a little bit more about yourself. You know, are you currently working from home? You know, are you currently, do you currently have a job outside of what you're doing? You know, do you work outside the home? And then they'll, you know, they have a job, they'll tell me about their job, you know, and I try to get them to talk about, you know, what do they like or not like about it? And that gets them to start talking a little bit about that they're really burnt out in their job. So, for example, when I first spoke to Kelly Soliani, we got into her whole job thing in a fair amount of detail because she is so burnt out of being a dental hygienist, and it's physically taxing on her. And so her drive and her passion, or why, like that was what, I immediately found out the why. And because I found out the why, that really helped me, because she had been in network marketing companies since she was 19 years old. And she was in doTERRA, and she loves essential oils, but she wasn't getting success. So I hit on that hot button right away. And while I'm talking to these folks, I'm writing everything down. Because then I'll remember, because if I don't write it down, I won't remember. So then I go into, what is the, do you have family? I mean, do you have, a partner, kids, or, what is your current situation? I mean, if they're working a full-time job, and if you find out they have kids, the kids are going to be their why. So, even if you don't have kids yourself, as soon as they start talking about their kids, they're you get people talking about their kids, they're lighting up. So I find out, like, how old are they? And that's awesome. You've got like a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. Oh my goodness. I love those ages. Or, I have nieces and nephews, and they were, I remember those ages so well. They were so special and precious at that time. And, and then just go right back to them. The more, like, don't talk about yourself. Spend very little time talking about yourself, and talk only about them, and pulling out what their family's about, what their occupation is, what their situation, and then find out about their business that they're in now, if they're in a business now. And most people that want to talk to us are already in a business. So then they get into their business. This will be the third why, because we all know that people are not successful in traditional MLMs, and you can always find people that will, and also, but some people will say that they're successful, which is also, they're probably not telling all the truth. It's like, I really loved April post. If you guys haven't seen this yet, go on April's page, and she posted this video that was just mind-blowing about the true things that are going on in the MLM industry.
That was an awesome video.
That was an awesome video. Like, she, I'm going to save that sucker, and you never know, like, when would be an appropriate time to be able to sharing that. And so if people are telling you that they're making money and they're doing great, chances are they're doing about half of what they're saying. And all the years I've been doing this, I guarantee you, because I would find out later what people were really making, and it was all a bunch of hooey. So it's all smoke and mirrors. So, but most of the time you're going to get the story of, I'm just not getting any traction. I've lost all my customers, and, that kind of thing. And that's when, again, I have another door to go into, why they would want to do this, why they even want to spend time to talk to me and to do an overview. So then after that, I will, I'll tell a little bit about myself. And I just want to preface this by saying, understand that just because I've got 17 years of experience, that doesn't mean that you still cannot come off as really being an authority figure and really being someone that they're going to want to work with. So you guys know my story, and I tell them, my story of working full time, 50 to 60 hours a week, and then blah, 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 blah. Now, your stories are different, but your story, you want to write your story out first so that you are saying the exact same thing every time. And once you get your story written down, then you'll be able to start to speak it extemporaneously without, feeling like you're reading something. But, let me give you a little background. So, or just an example. So, and I don't know all of your stories, but I'm just going to make like an overall one up. So let's just say that I've been working a full-time job, and I'm just really burnt out of it. And and so I've tried, and this is probably what all of your cases, pretty much you've tried other things. So that is where I would start. So just to let you know a little bit about myself, I work, I've been working in the, whatever your company industry is for many years. And I am so done with corporate America, and I got so burnt out. So then I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur, and I wanted to start out by creating some side income and turn that into full-time income so I could walk away from my job. And I've tried a few things. I mean, I won't say the company's names because I'm not going to bash a company and you don't know. Maybe you may not know by this time what their company name is, but I won't say the company name. I'll just say I've tried a couple of things. I tried one for, let's say a year, and I got absolutely nowhere. And then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to jump to something else. I tried that, and that didn't work either. And what I found was the greatest challenge was that, customers just weren't willing to pay high prices for products and sustain that and keep on it. So then, however long it's been, so then a couple of years ago, I was introduced to something that is completely different than what what is typical with an MLM company, something where people don't get hurt here and that kind of thing. And, and I'm just very grateful. And if you've made, income in it, I guess I would be very careful about talking about income, because if you haven't made a lot of money yet, that may deter them from not wanting to work directly with you. So I just talk in generalities then. I would just say, and I got started in what I'm doing now over 2 years ago, and it's absolutely exploding. I am, part of one of the top leading teams, that are in this company. And I'm just so grateful that I decided to make that switch from that, the old thing. So I'm just giving you ideas, but you want to put your little story together and make it a paragraph. Like I just finished talking a lot, but I'm just giving you ideas. Put it into a paragraph so it's short and sweet. Because remember, the more that you have them talk about themselves in this, and this is really like a 10-minute conversation, the more you have them talk about themselves, the better off you're going to be. And so they talk about themselves. You give them your 1-paragraph story, and I'm just so grateful that I, changed what I'm doing, and I'm just absolutely exploding in my business, and whatever words you want to use that you feel comfortable with. And I'm really glad. So you were telling me about, and then I kind of go there, XYZ. I would love to be able to share more details with you, but obviously over the phone, there's just too much to go through. And I want to make sure that you see everything visually. Would you be open-minded to setting up a time where you're at your computer and we can go through everything in detail, and I'd be happy to, share everything. And then we'll go from there and just see if this may be a fit for you. And after I've built all this rapport, I don't get people saying no to going on an overview. They all say yes, because I built rapport with them, first of all, on a phone call. And let me preface this by saying, you're going to feel very, very uncomfortable getting on the phone with someone. And it's going to take a little bit of just practice for you to feel comfortable. But I want you to build your posture in such a way that you're gonna be, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like, you can't possibly screw this up. Jeff did a great post too about, you can't mess anything up. Whatever you say, like if somebody doesn't enroll, it's not your fault. It's not your fault if they don't enroll. And you have to embrace that. Like the true success of this business is getting hundreds and hundreds of no's over time. And out of that pool, you're going to get several yeses, and there's going to be Ellie and Carol's in that group. And the only difference between me and anyone else here is the fact that I've received thousands and thousands of no's over time. And I wasn't willing to let those no's mess with my headspace. And that is absolutely critical. You cannot ever let those no's mess with your headspace, because when you do, as soon as you do, you've given the power back to the prospects. And the power is within you. So just make sure you don't give away your power. So once I get them to agree to an overview, then I go through and I get them on an overview. So let me just say this. With our overviews, if you don't get them on a GTOT overview, your chances of enrolling them go down. Okay, so I will say 100% get them on a GTOT overview. And 100%, you know, whenever possible, and I don't know, Ellie, what you do about your overviews, but do you ever record your overviews and then make them possibly?
Yes, I haven't done that in the last month or so. I know, but a lot of these folks here I've sent it to.
Okay, so what I would recommend is for you guys is, Ellie, if you can, what I did is I recorded my overview and I did not put any of the promotions on the back end. And then that way, and then I could say at the very end, you know, we have some current, you know, exciting promotions that the person that invited you here is going to talk to you about. We have, you know, and I just sort of talk in generalities, you know, we have promotions like every 2 weeks. We're constantly giving away free products for just enrolling a couple of customers. You know, we've given away, you know, we've given away Kindles and headphones and all sorts of things, you know, all sorts of really cool stuff. We're going to talk about it at the very end, after after the overview. So what I've done for my other group is I have recorded my overviews. So if they cannot get them on one of these overviews, I will, and actually I'm telling my guys, get them on my overview. And here's why, because you can show that overview over your own Zoom, and you will then have complete control over the time that they are going to be on that overview. You can, and of course, we always say, whatever time you pick, whether it's you're sending them to a GTOT overview or you're getting them to come to, you know, Ellie's recorded overview, whatever time, you're always making sure that it's set up as, you know, this, I'll mark it down on my calendar. I'm blocking time on my calendar for this business, you know, business overview. And I've got this time. And if anything would change with your calendar, it's very important you let me know right away. That is a line I use all the time. If anything would change with your calendar, please let me know right away so that I can, you know, accommodate my schedule accordingly. I have very few people, gosh, I'm probably honest to goodness saying 95% of the people do not just show up to my overviews that I've scheduled personally. They will say they can't, they will tell me that they can't come. And I'm fine with that. I'm like, okay, if you know, I get people at the last minute saying, oh, you know what, something came up, no problem. Well, then they're just on my follow-up list and I'm going to keep at them until they get on a new one. But I don't have people invited and just don't show up to these overviews that I've worked really hard to schedule, that I've built rapport with, that I've got them on a time. So I get them on an overview, and ideally I would share the overview over your Zoom. If you have, I mean, and if you guys don't have a Zoom account, I would recommend getting one, even if you get a free one. That would be better than not having one at all. But the one that's $14.95 a month is well worth it, because there's no limit on the time that you can actually show them your screen.
Wait, there is no limit on a free one if it's just you and another person.
Oh!
We didn't know that. Barb is the one who told us that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodness gracious, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, that solves that issue. So your best bet is everybody gets a free Zoom account if you don't have one already. Because then you're completely controlling everything. You're showing them an overview that has been recorded, but it's still a GTOT overview. It's done by your leaders that when you are, you know, when you are basically sharing the leadership team, and these are the people you're going to be working with, and they're absolutely the top earners in our company, in our business. This is who we're, you know, I'm just really grateful that we're part of this amazing organization. And actually, one of the things I tell them is that our organization in this company hit the top 50 in the first 9 months of being with Melaleuca. And that's really powerful to say that we became, you know, we grew so fast, and we were just like, we did so extremely well. We were in the top 50. So anyway, I get them on a real overview. I share my screen. If you can't coordinate a time for them to get on an overview, you can send them the recording that Ellie has, as long as it's password protected, and that you can share it in a private message. But then again, if you ever do that, you must make sure that you are sending them, you're getting them to commit to a time. So I'm gonna say, for example, if you you know, do you have time right now? I can actually share something with you, and it's about a, you know, 25-minute overview or however long it is. Always tell them it's less than it really is, because they won't pay attention that it's actually 30 minutes.
Good tip.
Yeah. Just, yeah. So, you know, it's about 20 minutes or so. We said or so, we're not lying. And, you know, 33 minutes later. But, so then I'll say, okay, do you have time right now? Great. They'll have time. If so, if not, do you have time about 7 o'clock tonight? I will send you this link, and I want you to watch it at 7 o'clock. And then I'm going to call you 30 minutes later. How does that sound? That is more likely, if you can't do it on the spot on a Zoom, that's more likely going to be when you're going to see more people not do what they say they're going to do. So just so you're aware of that, it still is an alternative. The challenge that I've found, and I know everybody else has found, is if you try to get them to come to a recorded, not a recorded, when you come to a live overview, it's hard to get them. Like, you tell them it's 8 o'clock, but it's not like it's like they are going for a job interview that they have to show up somewhere. Like, they can totally blow it off. And I want you to understand that it's not you. It's not anything you've done that they don't actually show up to one of these overviews we have on our calendar. It's just that life happens. People don't take it as seriously as you, because they have no idea what an amazing business opportunity this is. So I do those. That's kind of how I get them to watch an overview. Again, Zoom, you personally sharing a recorded one is still the best option, because it's still, you're right there. They watch it, you know, they're sticking with the whole thing. And then at the very end, you stop the overview, and then, you know, I'll ask them something like, you know, I'll just say some kind of a comment. So, isn't this amazing? I'm just so, I love what we have here. And, you know, what did you like best about what you heard? And something along those lines, and get them to talk about, you know, a little bit about, what they liked or didn't like or whatever. Now, this is where the closing part comes in. You want to just understand that you have all the answers anybody has questions about. And ideally, if you can't answer a couple of questions and get them enrolled right away, then you make sure that you get them on a three-way call. Three-way calls are absolutely critical. If you're not utilizing three-way calls as your opportunity to get to close these people, you're losing out on probably at least 50% of the possible enrollments you could be doing. So if you're not able to close them right away on answering a couple of quick questions, then, and going back to their why and just, like that, then you definitely need a three-way call. Now, the other thing is, if they backpedal and they're like, well, I don't know if some people will say, well, I don't know if I want to do another business. I've just had such a burnout with whatever. And I don't know about the business side. Then you can downscale it to, I completely understand that, but here's what I want you to think about. You already are buying all these products elsewhere. You go to the grocery store, you go to Target, you go to Walmart, you're buying all this stuff anyway. Why not just become a customer, not build it as a business quite yet, just become a customer, and you're going to have all these savings, these incredible products that do not have harsh chemicals in them and are better, safer, healthier products. I mean, it's a win-win. And then about the whole marketplace, and you're going to get free credit toward product. So just think about getting, $25 a month or so, $30 a month. I mean, that's kind of what I'm averaging in free product. Not only are you getting 30 to 50% savings, but you're getting free products. So by, all the different things and, $100 in free products and blah, blah, blah. So that sometimes if you can't get them to close as a business and you can see that they're not willing to do a three-way call, then you back down to, you just got to be a customer. I just want you to try these products. Okay. So I get them to a yes. And in some of their objections are going to be, the most common objection really is probably, I don't know, Ellie, what would you say that you're finding some of the most common objections?
Well, the 35-point thing we get.
Yeah.
Everybody's been getting that. I know people right now are shaking their head yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So so here's the thing. When that's the most common objection. And I just let them know, look, you are not changing your budget whatsoever. You're saving money. So if you're already buying, detergent and shampoo and soap and things like that at other stores, you're going to be buying here, and you're not adding new budget money. So, and here's the thing, there's over 500 products. There's I tell them the truth. I actually, between my husband and I, we consume over 150 points of product every month. The only time I ever walk into a grocery store now is if I need meats and vegetables and fresh fruits and things like bread and things like that. But I never walk into a store anymore. And I'll walk out of my store spending $55 versus $155. And I've saved so much money with Melaleuca that I don't need to go in the store anymore. So that is, I just tell them that is a non-issue for everybody that's a customer. And I also remind them, if there were an issue for people, we wouldn't have a 97% customer retention rate. So keep that in mind. If this were an issue for people, we wouldn't have a 97% customer retention rate. So then I get them to say yes. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. I got to stop singing. singing and dancing too hard the night before I do a training. So then now this whole process, just so you know, is about an hour and a half. All right. When I do this, I really literally will take probably about that much time, because I'll talk to them first for 10 minutes. Excuse me. I'll get them on an overview, which is like 40 minutes, and then I'll answer a couple questions, and then I will help them to pick their order. Excuse me. So on the overview, we do an excellent job at closing the packages. Okay. So then when it comes to the having them select product, I do not enroll people unless I've got them committing to the products that they want, and I get them I get the products that they want. Okay, do you use the which product? No, I will say this. I never use that which products form. I recommend, this is my personal opinion, if it's worked for you, absolutely. I never use that product form, because all that does is create more confusion. I never send them a catalog. I will tell you, every single time I've sent them an electronic catalog, none of them has signed up. Okay, so that's my experience, and those are my stats. That tells you that you're going to experience the same thing if you haven't already. If people need that much detail to come up with their 35 points, they're probably not even worth your time to try. I mean, you're not trying to convince people. Remember that. You're not here to convince people. So on the overview, if they're business people, they should be picking up, by bare bones minimum, a value pack. If they're doing this on a part-time basis, like basically the rule of thumb that we look at is category 3 people should be picking up a home conversion. Category 2 people should be picking up a value pack, if at all possible. Now, they have their first 2 months to do it, as you know. But if for any reason they feel like they don't want to do it right then, just let them know, no problem. We're gonna pick your order of 35 points right now. I want to talk about some of my favorite products and find out what you might want to, what would be best for you. And then next month, you still will have the opportunity to pick one of those up. So the product store, of course, extra savings, new customer savings packs. I talk about the new customer savings packs. I talk about the value of picking up even a value pack, because here's the thing. This is almost $500 worth of product that you're going to be getting for only $199. Like, you're getting over 29 products. These are all product, and I will tell you, I would not have had the experience I have or the success in my business now if I hadn't started with I started with a home conversion pack. I truly would not be as successful now if I wouldn't have started there, because there's so many products that I've tried that I never would have thought about trying that happen to be in my home conversion pack.
Right.
So I highly recommend you pick up one of these packs. I talk about the side of it is almost $500 worth of products for just $199, or almost $700 worth of products for only $299. Like, they give you these tremendous savings. If they balk at that, because you don't want to not be able to close them because they're balking at that, then one of the easiest things that I recommend you can try to do is say, hey, I understand you're not ready for those packs, and obviously you know that the commitment is 35 points, but here's something you may want to think about, and I will try to get them to pick up at least a customer favorites pack. Because, so here's the thing, a 35 product point order is going to be around, say $55, $60 plus the shipping and tax, okay? So it's about $60 plus shipping and tax. But here, if you pick up a customer's favorites pack, these are truly the most popular products that we have. You're going to be getting 18 products, almost $200 worth of products for only $99. It's a tremendous savings, and you're going to be able to experience our favorite products that Melaleuca has.
So you have them on this Zoom and you're showing them this.
Yes. Yes. I'm showing them the products because remember, and one of the reasons why I have such a high success rate of getting people to actually pick the products before they will become a customer is because I already have helped them to pick out their products. If they feel they need more time to go through and look at everything, I don't push them, but I tell them, I'm so glad that Melaleuca added this. I want you to definitely, your goal today is to, go onto your site, pick the products, and get that order in today, because then you're going to get $20 and more product. So that is a huge selling point to get them to buy the products today. And I always talk in terms of today. I don't say today or tomorrow. I just say, I want you to get your order in today. I want you to get that $20 in free products. So you're going to pick the products you want for 35 product points. And then once you hit that, you're going to add more products, and then you're going to get your $20 in free product when you check out. So you don't want to miss out on that $20 in free products. So you definitely want to get your order in today. Now, if they are still like, and this, by the way, this whole thing of me going through the home and the value and now the customer favorites literally is like no more than like a 3 to 5 minute conversation. Okay. Then I'm like, you know what I can do now for you, I can actually share some of my favorite products. But first tell me what kinds of products, because by then they already know, I'm like, look at all these different products. Like when we're talking about 35 product points, I'm telling you, there is so much to choose from. So what kind of products do you feel that you and your family are going to most likely use? And then they'll, talk about some of the things. And then I'll actually, what I've done with some people is, let's say they or the 35 product point order, I will go to a couple of things and I'll give them an example of a 35 product point order. So I'll say, well, okay, so let me just share kind of what my favorite products are. And I kind of always start with Renew. And I want to show you how easy it is to come up with 10 or 35 product points. So the Renew lotion, this alone is only $15.99. It's worth 12 points. So I've actually done this as well, where I'll go and I'll add it to my cart. And then I'll go back and and I'll just say, okay, so let's say you pick up like a basic multivitamin, add that to the cart. That multivitamin is 13 points, right? I've got a multivitamin at 13 points. I got a hand cream at 12 points. I show my cart. I'm like, look, I'm already at 25 points. I only have to come up with 10 more points. And look at how easy it is to do. Just look at your shampoo and conditioner. I'm just getting like that's 6 points here, and a conditioner is another 3 points. So let's look here. Look, I'm at 34 points. I'll just pop it up with I'll get a bath bar. Right? I'm just going to, when you get this gold bar, I'm telling you, you're going to absolutely fall in love with it, right? So look, I've got 35 product points, all right? $50.95. And I'll show that, because then sometimes people will have well, I don't know, what the, what is the shipping? One of the things I'll tell them, like, that might be an objection. When I ordered a home conversion pack, my total shipping costs on over 50 products was only $20, and that's the God's honest truth. So when they ask about shipping, well, how bad is the shipping? It's not bad at all. Melaleuca is the #1 online wellness company in all of North America, and they are the #1 customer of UPS, and so therefore we get the very best UPS product or UPS rates. That's why they're so cheap. So I'll show, if they're really like into this whole thing about worrying about the cost, I will show them, look, here's the thing. There's only $7.33, sales tax, $61, and I did a 35 product point order. Okay, so when I show them how easy it is to come up with 35 product points, I'm going to find a couple of products that already are 13 points and 12 points, and usually like a multivitamin, a Renew is right up there, and then I'll pop up with a couple of things, and I'll say, look how easy it is to come up with 35 product points. Okay, so then, you know, I will, you know, I'll get them to, you know, at least I'll help them to pick their products. Now, again, this takes more time, of course, but the bottom line is, do you want to get these people enrolled, or do you want to keep enrolling people and never getting their product orders in? And that's where I have a very high success rate of getting people to place their orders, either on the spot or by the next day. I always have a follow-up appointment with the person, and I always will get them to place their order on the next day, and then I will remind them, you know, okay, we've got a call at 4 o'clock today. I want to make sure that you're still available, and I'm going to help you to place your first order. And I get them to place their first order, or by that time they might have already placed it, because I've made such a big deal about how important it is. Like, none of this even is worth, you know, is going to work unless you place an order. Now, last but not least, the one thing I do every single time is I always do an express enrollment. Never do I do an online form. So that is really what this is all about. You get them on the phone, you build a little bit of rapport. Don't spend more than, 10 minutes on that. Get them on an overview, answer a couple quick questions. If they need, if it's like you already know it's getting out of control, you need a three-way call, get them on a three-way call. And then that person helps you to close them. And then you help them to pick their products and place their order. So I get their order figured out before I call Melaleuca, but I always do it through express enrollment. I have probably done the online linked enrollment maybe 10 times in all of 2.5 years. So, and the reason that online enrollment doesn't necessarily work is, again, this isn't everybody's priority. This is your priority, and your job is to close them strong and get them moving right away. So I do the express enrollment, I get them enrolled, and then right after that, if I can have them have their order in mind, I will, at the very end, they'll say, are you ready to place your order? Absolutely, we are. The other thing is, when you do an express enrollment, their backup order is always option number 2 without vitamins. And you let them know once their online account is set up, they can always go back and select, they can always customize their backup order. Just to save time, we're just going to do the option 2 without vitamins, okay? So those are things you need to know ahead of time. If you can, get their product order figured out so you can place their order on the spot. If not, then you're going to be following up with them really hard until they get their order placed. And you don't want to miss out on your free $20 of product. Let's do this, okay?
So Karen, if I may ask, so you're at this point, but you don't bring them to a three-way call unless there's maybe a little hesitation. Is that part of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you go through this process, like in the beginning, it's going to be a little cumbersome, or you might feel a little awkward. You might not have your confidence. Get them on a three-way call right away, so you're not taking any chances. Like, three-way calls for all of you guys is critical. I still use three-way calls for some of these folks that are, they're maybe network marketers in the past, and they've had some challenges, or they, have like a lot of questions. And then I always bring Jeff in on that. So, and if they don't enroll off of a three-way call with any one of us, well then, they're probably not ready. And that's okay too. People have to be ready. So that's pretty much what I do. I get them on that three-way call. Clearly, if that's the priority, we want to do that first. And then I make sure, okay, great, let's get you enrolled. I'm going to call Melaleuca in a three-way call with you. But first, let's figure out, what products do we want to add to your order, your first initial order, and see if you can get them, like in these things I just shared, to place pick their products, then get them to place their order. If somebody is hesitant and they're not ready to place an order, if they're giving me excuses as to why they're not going to have time to look at the online thing and place their order before tomorrow, I honestly don't even enroll them. Because why would you want to enroll someone who clearly is not really closed? All that does is frustrate you, because you got this whole list of people that haven't completed their order. They're really not enrolled. The other thing, I will never add them to any groups or to any chats unless they've actually enrolled and placed their order. If they have not placed their order, I will not add them to anything. That's a privilege. So once they place their order, my follow-up call is the next day. Then I'm adding them to our Facebook groups. And I'm getting them just on the GTOT support Facebook group. And then I'm going through your first initial steps are on the global takeover team. Where to go? Okay, hold on. I can't get rid of this. So I will, if they place their order, I will show them the global takeover team right away. Then I tell them, okay, the first thing you're going to do, I'm excited. I can't wait to get the products. I want you to focus on this pinned post. The very first thing you're going to do is go to this Time and Freedom team. You're going to pick a free training site. And I'm going to want you to go through the getting started and the strategy session modules of those two sections. And then you want to have a strategy session with Ellie and Carol the next day. So your objective is to get these people moving right away. The faster you can get them moving and enrolling customers, the more likely you're gonna keep that customer, and they're like, if they're building the business, that they're gonna stick with you. So then I have them do these steps, and then the next day, I'm on them. I talk to them every day, to keep them focused on what are their steps, how far have they gotten, have they worked on their list yet. I've got a strategy session the very next day after they enroll, or no later than 48 hours after. If you can get them to enroll at least one regular customer and one business builder within their first 72 hours, you've got a really solid potential business builder. That's how you build business builders. Get them success within the first 3 days. That's the key. So that's pretty much kind of what I do. Anybody have any other questions? I know I've gone through a lot in this training session.
I know you have mostly business builders, Karen. However, if you do end up with somebody who's obviously going to be just a customer, at least to start out with, and I shouldn't say just a customer, is going to be a customer when they start out, what do you do in terms of follow-up with them? I
follow up with them every day as well.
You do?
I make sure that they're using their services. That they've got the products they want. As soon as, and I'll let them know, your products are going to come in like 3-4 days or so. And I'm going to want to find out how you're liking the products. But I'm also following up to make sure they're watching those Learn to Earn videos, because then they're getting educated. So follow up with all customers is critical, and you guys all know the follow-up center. That's where You know exactly how much product they ordered. You know exactly what they're buying. You know, you can, or not what they're buying, but you know their product points rather. But I will follow up with customers the same way. Now, the other thing that some people do, and I haven't done this yet, but I know it's really important and I should be doing it. Some people will send them a handwritten note and welcome them as a customer, that kind of thing, and mail it to them and say, I'm so excited that you've, you know, become a Melaleuca customer, and you know, some of my favorite products, and I'm so, you know, whatever, however you want to write a handwritten note, a handwritten thank you. I know April's really good at that. She does that, and that's just something I know I keep talking about incorporating, but I haven't yet, and I should. So any other questions?
You're muted, Debbie. I muted you, sorry.
Can you hear me now? Okay. You said 95% of your people that you speak to, you get them on the phone. The other 5% that you don't, how different is that?
It's just the same thing we do with the messaging. But honestly, if they're not willing to get on the phone with me to build rapport with me, then I think they're not really seriously interested. Like that's the issue I've always found. Me personally have never really done very well at getting them off of a message, getting them to an overview without having some kind of a phone conversation. It just isn't, it isn't my thing. I will tell you, April does the whole messaging thing right onto the getting them on an overview. But here's the thing, April has significant, you know, like she's got such an excellent reputation.
Influencer.
She's got a huge following. So for her to get people from off message into enrolling off of an overview, well, that's why, you know, Jeff does it too. However, Jeff still gets people on the phone. So
Right.
Because you guys don't have that influence, you have to build influence, that you have to build confidence in, they've got to get confidence in you. And hearing you speak, hearing your voice, hearing your confidence, hearing your, you're really, that's really what does it. I wouldn't enroll with anybody unless I got to know them at some level.
Thank you.
Karen, do you use Facebook Messenger calling, or at all? Is it always on your cell phone?
I give them the option, but most of the time, you know, they'll say, yeah, I can do the phone. If they say the Facebook Messenger, the Facebook voice call, I'll say, okay, no problem. Just to let you know, sometimes I have challenges with my internet, or, you know, I've had other people, like the other person had challenges with their internet. So I'm just hoping that everything is going to go okay with our internet. If that's okay with you, I'm fine with Facebook chat. I mean, unless you're okay, I personally find the phone easier, but it's, you know, it's up to you. So it's sort of how I get them to not do the Facebook voice, because I have had problems.
Right.
Any other questions?
Do you discuss the marketplace at all, or do you hold that for later on?
I hold that for later on, because remember, in the overview, the marketplace already has been covered.
Right.
Just remember, when you spend too much time on the other things, you're not focusing on, you want them just to pick 35 product points and get them enrolled. So I don't, the overview does everything, and my whole purpose is to just, you know, get them enrolled, get the product order in, get their training site or their set, and then I'm talking to them the very next day.
Right. Marketplace could be part of your strategy, your session.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. So the strategy session, that's when I go over all the other bells and whistles we have on my info.
Karen, I was curious. I mean, I'm kind of like going back to closing techniques I learned over the years. And does the question of ever, like, you know, after you've gained some background about them, their why, and ask something like after the overview, like, you know, like you said, you know, what did you like most about it? and they go, oh, I like this, I like that. And then maybe move to a closing question. It would be, would there be any reason why you know, or any hesitation of why you wouldn't want to do that? Or do you feel that opens up another bag of worms?
Yeah, that's like guaranteed to open up Pandora's.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Your only is like, okay, so obviously you can see the value of this. So let's get you started. All I talk about is, so let's get you started. So
Right.
let's get you started. That is, so let's get you started. 5 words. That's it. That's the closing. That's the closing right there. What did you like best about what you heard? So let's get you started.
Sounds like, yep.
Awesome. I see Sherry and Denise here. I just want to welcome you. Yes, we're going to do a power hour here. You caught us at you're lucky you got in here as Karen's doing some training. So we see you here. Welcome.
Get an extra bonus here.
Yeah.
You're right.
Welcome.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. You've got your power hour you're going to be doing, and I actually have to boogie. But this has been an honor and a privilege, and I love
Thank you.
every one of you. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you, Ellie and Carol, especially because you're driving this whole organization and team, and we are a family. And just remember, everything you're doing, as you hone your skills, you're going to be helping Ellie and Carol get to senior director, okay? So some people are more motivated by helping others. I'll tell you, the thing that drove me, like, for many years was always whatever I did, I knew was going to help the people that cared about me, that were working so hard with me. So what you do matters. So, you know, when you start to feel discouraged, just understand that you have a huge impact on the people that love and appreciate you and are helping you. And it's not that we're trying to be self-serving as your leaders, but sometimes it actually motivates people to do more for them than they do for themselves. At least that's what it was for me.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen.
All
We
right.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Karen.
Yes.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Right.
Okay. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.